Pages, the key to higher conversion. We appreciate everyone joining us today. Before we start the program, there are just a few housekeeping items I'd like to review. You may ask questions anytime during the presentation using the online question feature. We'll hold the questions until the end and then answer them in about the 10 to 15 minutes that we leave. Our speaker, Dennis, will also be sharing with you another great way to ask questions, which will be through a Twitter hashtag that we've set up. So stay tuned for more information about that. To use the online question feature, simply click on the Questions tab on your control panel, type your question into the top box, and click on the Send button. If you have any technical difficulties during the presentation, please use that same question feature to get my attention, and I'll do my best to resolve the problem. We will be providing you with a recording of today's webinar as well as a copy of the PowerPoint slides, so keep an eye on your inbox for a link to those later today or tomorrow. Now let's get started. I'm pleased to introduce our speaker, Dennis Kelly. Dennis is the CEO at BoingNet, a fast-growing marketing automation platform that helps marketers drive better numbers from campaigns that span landing pages, email, direct mail, and mobile channels. BoingNet has been used by hundreds of clients as large as Chrysler and as small as your local landscaper. Dennis has been starting and building software, retail, and web businesses for 25 years while working for or partnering with brands such as Prudential, Palm, Computer Associates, and Verizon Wireless. Outside of work, Dennis is a busy dad and husband who loves sports, is involved in a couple of amazing nonprofits, and is a burgeoning foodie, wine, craft, and beer nut. So we're really excited to have Dennis with us today and to share the information and knowledge he has about landing pages. So I'm going to turn the program over to him.
Great. Thank you, Emily. And I'd like to thank our friends at Agile Education Marketing for inviting me to speak today. And thank the audience for joining us here to talk about a topic that I get really excited about. That may make me a bit of a landing page geek, but it's something that I get fired up about and I'm very happy to talk about. So today we're going to talk about landing pages, what they are, why they're important, some of the fundamentals around landing pages, and what makes them work, what makes them fail, what makes some better than others, and all the different types of landing pages that you can build. Then we're going to jump in to do something that should be a lot of fun. Several of the folks here in the audience submitted some landing pages for us to review. And we've had some time here for some of our experts to take a look at them. We've got some critiques, some praises, and an overall review that I hope you'll find to be really beneficial and informative. And then we're going to have time for questions. As Emily had mentioned, we have set up a hashtag on Twitter. So in addition to typing questions into the chat box, you can type your questions into Twitter using the hashtag landing page questions. And so if we have any social media mavens out there, go to it. You can fire them up during the presentation at any time. We've got the fabulous Max Doherty here, who is our social media intern that is monitoring hashtag landing page questions, and he'll be bringing the questions over to me. So, what is a landing page? Landing pages are web pages that are designed with a single purpose, conversion. By focusing the intent on exactly that goal, landing pages deliver better results than normal web pages when it comes to conversion. What do we mean when we say designed with a single purpose? At the most basic fundamental level, we mean, first, all content and navigation not needed to achieve the conversion is stripped away. Images, text, links, buttons, everything else. Number two, the headline of the page is clear, simple, and to the point. If a subheadline is used, it builds on the headline with simple, clear language describing the product or service or offer. Next, there is a single call to action. The single call to action limits the choices of the user so that that person is purposely driven to take that desired action. Finally, we're going to talk about message match. Message match is a concept that talks about the alignment of the messaging from the channel that originally touches a campaign target to the landing page that they end up ultimately falling into. Why use landing pages? Because they work. There's a lot of statistics that point to the fact that landing pages convert at a higher rate than non-landing pages. Marketers have designed what are called marketing or sales funnels. We figured out that we can take buyers on a step-by-step journey through a buyer's journey while using landing pages as their guides. The statistics for the conversions vary dramatically by industry and campaign, but it's not uncommon to see conversion rates rise between 10% and 300% when landing pages are designed and used properly. There are several common sense reasons why landing pages work so well. We'll talk about several of those here today. The first thing that people do when they get interested in a company, a promotion, or a message is to go online and do research. If you don't tell people where to go, they'll typically run off to Google and start typing in keywords that will bring up dozens of links, including ads from your competitors. Google is betting they can pick off many of your customers that you're spending your time and money chasing through this simple idea. Landing pages help you avoid this. Landing page marketers direct customers to specific URLs through both online and offline channels, the pages that have only one purpose. This closed environment and clarity of purpose generates better results. Next is speed and cost. These are two of our favorite words. Landing pages using today's marketing platforms are quick to build, change, and take down, just like marketing campaigns. Landing pages don't need to be custom made by HTML pros anymore, as new point-and-click interfaces enable marketers to take templates and deploy landing pages quickly and easily. Landing pages are also measurable. Because they can be built quickly, easily, and inexpensively, marketers can deploy unique landing pages for each and every campaign they run, and in each and every channel that that campaign runs in, both online and offline. These pages are measured individually as well as in aggregate, giving each incredible detail about the performance of each channel in each campaign. When traffic is sent to the primary website of a brand rather than a landing page, that traffic gets mixed in with all the other traffic, so you lose the measurement and ROI impact that marketers today really need. Finally, landing pages are what we like to call liquid versus locked down, or as we like to say, owned by marketing versus owned by IT. Essentially what we're saying here is that in their ideal world, marketers like to experiment, test, and modify, both before, during, and after their campaigns. A lot of information flows in when a campaign begins, and the best campaigns are able to adapt as the information flow starts. The elements supporting the campaign should be fluid and able to adapt quickly. Landing pages, when developed outside of the organization's IT group, are able to adapt and change as information rolls in. IT, on the other hand, likes to lock things down, as they are rightly concerned with things like change control, security, stability, the scalability of the primary website. As a result, marketers often get frustrated while trying to work with IT to build, deploy, test, and manage landing pages. Today's platforms and many marketing agencies are able to take this burden off the IT group and live within the budget and control of the marketing department of a company. All right, so now we're going to jump in and start talking about some of the fundamental basics of how landing pages work. Before we go too far, we're going to talk a little bit about URLs. This is kind of a techie phrase, and it's a little bit of a overlooked part of the landing page equation, but it's really important. There are three basic types of URLs. The first is what we would call unfriendly. I think everybody here has been on the web and seen URLs that look like the first example. The way that you structure your URL sends a signal to the people that are reaching that page, as well as the search engines of the world, what that page is all about. The best landing page URLs are written in plain language so that a person can type it into a browser without too much difficulty. It also contains the most important keyword for the page. The keyword should be related to the primary topic of the page. Since a landing page are supposed to be stripped down, simplified versions of web pages, this is usually not that hard to figure out. So this unfriendly URL, which is a collection of letters, numbers, characters, and is really, really long, is something that people will have a hard time getting their head wrapped around. Search engines don't understand that particular URL, and so both will tend to ignore it. They certainly won't be referring people to URLs like this. Imagine somebody saying, hey, Joe, check out this pretty cool promotion, and having to list off a URL like this. On the other hand, a friendly URL is simple, to the point, and has the primary keyword of what the page is all about. You're sending a signal to both the person and to the search engines exactly what we're doing here. The third type is a personal URL, or PURL. Personal URLs combine the friendliness of the friendly URL, signaling what the page is all about, along with an indication that this page is meant for a specific person. We'll talk more about the types of pages that get generated through personal URLs later on. There are three basic types of landing pages. The first that we'll talk about is called the click-through landing page. These are designed to facilitate a single objective, to click on the primary call to action to progress to the next step in your sales funnel. These are typically used for product-based e-commerce pages, and the important characteristics here include focus, message clarity, branding, and targeted value proposition. This is a pretty cool page that was designed for an iPad app development company. It has a strong visual of what the product is, and a clearly identified call to action, which is that gray button that you see there, that is telling somebody to click through to the Apple App Store to buy the app. The call to action is easy to find. You're able to get a quick, clear understanding of what this page is all about. And if you're in the market for an iPad game, this is the page that will take you to the right place to buy. The next type of landing page is called a lead generation page. Lead generation pages are what many people think of when they think of landing pages. These are pages designed to capture information from people who are directed to that page so that they can be marketed to or sold to later. The two things that are clearly identified lead generation landing page are, first, they always include a form to be filled out. That form tends to be the highlight of the visual presentation. And the best pages have large, clearly defined call to action buttons like this one that says Submit Now. Second, there's something offered of value in exchange for the form being filled out. This particular form has a free consultation. The registration for a webinar is an offer of value. A free quote, a case study, a white paper, an ebook, an ability to watch an instructional video. The key is to know your target audience and to develop an offer that will tempt them to fill out the form. Personalized landing pages are the final primary category of landing pages. Personalized landing pages typically are the highest converting of all landing page campaigns, as they take information that is already known about the campaign targets and use that information to help create an experience that is highly relevant to each person in the campaign. By focusing the content experience so deeply, the marketer takes on the role of the trusted advisor to the target, providing them with exactly the information they need to make a good decision. In this case, the marketers use information about the buyer's purchase history and credit score to devise a personalized cashback offer for a car that has also been selected for them. As you can see, the target is greeted by name, welcome John, and more importantly, the form is pre-filled, giving the user the option of just clicking the button to get started on their buyer journey. So these personalized pages are used in all sorts of different campaigns, and because they end up being very easy for a person to get their head wrapped around, and because the forms are often at least partially pre-filled, they tend to get much higher conversion rates. So what are landing pages used for? Selling via e-commerce. Landing pages are often used to help close the deal, like in that first e-commerce example we looked at. These are pages that people end up at when they click on an ad for a product, oftentimes. The purpose is to give just enough information to get them to take the next step in the buyer's journey. Lead generation. We just talked about how lead generation campaigns use landing pages to capture information using those forms. Next is lead nurturing. Lead nurturing is the idea that when you've already got some information about a prospect that has indicated some level of interest in your product and service, and you've got a goal to move that client to the next step in your process. So you throw out an offer to these targets that will, in your best guess, move them along to the next step. That offer could be to watch a video, it could be to read a case study, it could be access to a meeting with an executive. There are a lot of different techniques to nurture a lead, and landing pages are a great way to get people to sign up to take those next steps. Finally, there's all sorts of offline examples of how landing pages are used. Events, which can be, of course, online like this one. You signed up for this particular event with a landing page, or an offline event. It could be a sale, a promotion, something going on at a store. It could be a fundraiser. It could be a gala. There's a million different ways that landing pages can be used in offline instances. All right, landing page 101. There's a few things that we're going to dive into here sort of at the next level of detail that can help determine the success or failure of your landing page. The first one is that your home page is not your landing page. This is a mistake that we see marketers make on a pretty regular basis. When they run campaigns and they don't direct people to a particular landing page, targets end up going to the home page and try to figure out what to do. The home page is a wonderful portal to many things, and it has a huge amount of time and effort put into it from all different parts of a brand. It's got to accomplish a lot of different tasks. This example points out that it just can't keep up with marketing. There are multiple messages here. There are 7 different calls to action. Home pages are designed to help you navigate to get to other parts of the website. If your campaign has to compete with all of the other calls to action and messages on a home page, you're going to end up losing a lot of your traffic. Home pages are also designed for search engine optimization. And so they'll be using keywords over and over again. They'll have anchor text, links, all sorts of different techniques that the webmaster will be using to try to drive search engine traffic to the home page. All of these things are great, but they aren't what landing pages are designed for, which is a single thing to convert traffic within your campaign. So, what are some of the differences between your home page and landing page? Again, convert versus navigate. The most dramatic improvement a marketing team can create in their conversion rates is when a home page is replaced with a well-designed landing page. The example here is a real-life example of a customer who is sending email marketing messages with links to their home page. And the home page was, of course, designed to do a whole lot of things. The home page was converting less than 1% of their traffic into buyers of their e-commerce products. The landing page, within 3 months of creation and adjustment, started converting at over 8.5%. The increase in conversion here represents an improvement of over 1,000%. While that doesn't happen every campaign, obviously, and we can't promise anything like this, if you convert your traffic off of email marketing to a landing page from your home page, you will guaranteed get much better conversion results. Message match. Message match is an idea we talked about briefly before, and we're going to walk through an example of a campaign that did not utilize message match or landing pages so you can see the results. So picture this. A guy like me is sitting on my couch watching the Super Bowl. If you remember, this year's game was a dud, unless, of course, you're from Seattle. So like most folks, I'm zeroing in on the commercials. In order to run a commercial, brands are spending at least $1 million, if not several more million, to develop and run ads. It's the biggest media event of the year. I've got my iPad on my lap, ready to take a look at some products. Up pops Samuel L. Jackson on my TV. He starts telling me with a calm demeanor all the things that this card, the Quicksilver cashback card, is all about. He's hitting on all my frustration points, rotating reward categories, sign up for rewards each quarter, and more. Now Sam is getting excited. He tells me that this card has no games, no messing around. This is the do I look like I'm joking around heavyweight champion of the world card. I'm ready to go. Sam is ready to go for the close. So what happens next? We go to the closing part of the screen, and I get Samuel staring at me like I better take some action here pretty quick. But he didn't tell me where to go. There's nothing in the imagery behind Sam telling me what to do. All he's saying is, what's in your wallet, which is, of course, their catchphrase. So, as a result, I'm sitting on my couch. I've got my iPad on my lap. I pop up Google. I type in Capital One. Well, what happens next? After getting through the maze that is the Google search engine page, with offers bombarding me from Chase, American Express, and others, I finally arrive at the Capital One homepage. This is what I see. Can you see the problem? Despite offering 19 different places on the homepage to connect with consumers, there's no mention of the Quicksilver card. After spending about 3 seconds scanning the page and not seeing anything related to the commercial that I watched, that they spent over $1 million running, I'm off distracted by some other commercial that's popped up on the screen about puppy love or trucks or beer. So, because there's no mention of this Capital One cashback Quicksilver card, there's no image of Samuel L. Jackson, and there are 19 different calls to action on the screen. I'm getting distracted. I look at this quickly, I lose focus, and I'm gone. And there's $1 million that Capital One just spent out the window. So this is what happens when marketers don't direct people to landing pages. It's a simple concept that seems to get lost in today's marketing mix. All right, little transition to landing page channels. Landing pages, by their very nature, are multi-channel. They're destinations that targets arrive at after responding to some sort of a search, an ad, a link, promotion, or some other prompt. Typically, marketers are driving targets to landing pages through a campaign or several campaigns using various channels. The better those channels are coordinated, the better off the performance. The deepest and earliest use of landing page has been with online marketing. Pay-per-click marketing like Google AdWords, online display ads, and social marketing have all been deeply integrated with landing pages for several years. And those marketers have figured out why, because they convert at a much higher rate. More recently, marketers are figuring out that with email marketing, those same principles apply. By having people click through to specific pages that have been chosen based on profiles, as we discussed, for the recipient of an email, marketers are seeing much, much higher response rates. Finally, landing pages are used in offline channels, things like direct mail, social media, TV and radio, print ads are all examples of how landing pages are used in offline. Well, I guess social media slipped through the cracks there. That should have been in the online category. So here's an example of an online lead generation landing page. Starting with a Google search, as you can see, for manufacturing software, a pay-per-click ad with that exact keyword, manufacturing software, pops up. It grabs my attention. I click on manufacturing software. I land on the following landing page. That keyword is again used in the headline and in the subhead. And immediately my eyes are drawn to the download free guide, great big red button staring me in the face. So this is how online channels typically work. There's some sort of a prompt through a search, through an ad, or social media campaign that drives people using keywords to a landing page. And when those keywords are repeatedly used and the message is matched up, you end up getting great results. Email marketing. Similar concept, different channel. With the email marketing, the idea is you've got some sort of relationship with this person already, and you want to sell to them, you want to nurture them, you want to move them along your sales funnel. So you send out an email with a subject line that is telling the recipient what it is that you're promising in the email. That subject line needs to be clear, and it should be using some sort of keyword, just like we used in the online example, to try to drive people to open up. Once they do open the email, they see a headline here, webinar, crash course in real-time advertising, and a great big call to action button, register here. There's some branding, there's a picture of a friendly looking person, and enough information to get me to click. When I click through to the landing page, you see the exact same branding. Webinar, crash course in real-time advertising. That consistency is really important. I'm seeing the same colors, the same basic design. I get a little bit more information here. It's telling me it's going to be 45 minutes. Goes through some bullet points, and there's a form there for me to fill out. Oh, but take a look at what they've done. They've already filled that form out for me. And so under the call to action, register for the live webinar, the form is pre-filled. All I need to do is click the blue register button, and I'm on my way. This is a great example of how landing pages are used in email marketing. offline marketing. We're going to run through a direct mail postcard campaign, but there's a lot of different ways that landing pages can be used offline. Here's an example of a postcard from Jeep that was addressed to James Naum, and it's saying, visit your personal URL today. You still have the chance to check out the latest lineup of the great Jeep vehicles with our newest incentives. So I flip the card over, and I'm seeing some Jeep imagery, and I'm getting a very specific URL to go to in order to check out the details of the offer. I type in the URL, and up pops a page with consistency, as we had discussed. This is a personal URL, one of the examples we talked about earlier, that is identifying the brand, the coloring. It's saying, welcome to my Jeep, Catherine, and it's providing me with an image that has been consistent from the beginning of a Wrangler. And so, based upon the profile, these people made a decision, here's the most likely content that I'm going to show Catherine that is going to entice them to engage in this campaign. Quick word on personalization and relevancy. The DMA, Direct Marketing Association, has done some studies on this, and by using personal URLs and content that has been driven by a profile, conversion rates have been up to 100 to 300% higher than in a control group. So clearly, the ability of a brand to connect with its targets with personalized recommendations and content is the way to go. Until the past few years, it's been pretty expensive and difficult, but now there's some marketing platforms out there that can help you crank out landing pages that can define their content based on the profiles that you've gathered about your clients. This is an example of a loyalty campaign where Dairy Queen has sent out a postcard to Jody for her birthday. She went to the URL and pulled together a personalized page with an offer for a coupon. Dairy Queen, by the way, received an 18% response rate to this postcard campaign over the course of a year. So with direct mail response rates running between 1% and 2%, these types of campaigns that have a great offer, in this case a free blizzard, in exchange for an email address, are becoming really popular and are a great way to build your email list. Your most important channel out of all the channels today is mobile. Between 20 and 50% of landing page traffic is currently residing on mobile devices. There's been a proliferation of device sizes over the last few years, and so we've got smartphones of all different sizes, we've got tablets of all different sizes, and of course we have desktop computers, laptops. When there have been pages that are designed for mobility, the mobile traffic converts at over 300% higher than when a page is being viewed on a mobile device that is not designed for mobile viewing. The way that this has been done in the past is to create a separate mobile website. You've probably all seen m.boynet.com in the past when you've been browsing on your phone. These are completely separate websites requiring twice as much effort, twice as much design, twice as much cost and time devoted to build, run, and maintain. And so it's prohibited the use of mobile landing pages because it's just such a big time and energy effort. There's a new way, though, that has come out in the last year or so called responsive design, some new technology that enables landing page companies to create pages that let you build them once and run them anywhere. There's one set of software code, so when anything changes, it automatically updates the mobile and the non-mobile pages. These pages are automatically resized for all the different sized devices that are viewing the pages. So by following some standards that have recently evolved, a lot of the marketing automation platforms out there are giving you the ability to quickly generate mobile-friendly landing pages and not have to maintain 2 sets of code and 2 distinct websites. Finally, a quick note on thank you pages. Saying thank you is nice, it's good manners, but it's also smart. So when you fill out a landing page, just throw an extra page on the back that says thank you to your customer. This is also the place that we recommend that you throw your secondary calls to action. Many landing pages have multiple calls to action, which we think is a big mistake, that could be rerouted to the thank you page. And so you can thank somebody, and then you can have that person share what they've done on social media all at once. You've accomplished your main objective already. All right, now it's time to do some landing page reviews. We've got 4 different landing pages out of several that were submitted that go over a wide range of types and styles. The first is from our friends at Award Reading. So we'll start with the good. They've got a very friendly URL here, www.awardreading.com. I think they've got some pretty good imagery. I get a pretty good sense of what this page is about by looking at the images. I don't have to think too much about it. We do have a few things that we recommend, though. So first, right at the very top of the page, there are 12 navigation links. One of the principles we talked about in the very beginning was stripping out all of the navigation that does not contribute to the conversion intention of the page. So we'd recommend that these links get stripped out of the landing page. Next, there's 2 different headlines and 2 different calls to action that are fighting for your attention. So you open up this page, and immediately you see a login for smart online users, as well as another headline saying, learn about Award Reading. So at this point, I'm a little bit confused. I don't know which way to go. A good landing page has a single call to action and a headline that is designed to drive people to that one call to action. So we'd recommend that this page be split up into 2. Again, because landing pages are now simple and easy and can be built outside of the IT group, it's really not that hard to crank out multiple pages when you want to accomplish multiple things. So we would recommend creating a login for smart online users landing page and a learn about Award Reading landing page to solve the major problems here. Next, we've got a landing page from Dicor. And this has a good, friendly URL as well. We see it's called dicorprotection.com/educational-promo/?refreshed. So, we probably want to lose the ?refreshed. It really doesn't affect anything. But in the grand scheme, it doesn't overwhelm the rest of the URL, so we give it a good grade. It's got a good, strong branding. Okay, I know this is Dicor. The headline is great. Protect your school's mobile device investment. My eyes are immediately drawn to the value proposition, insurance specifically for school iPads, tablets, and laptops. So I've got a pretty good idea of what this page is all about. The main concern with this page is that it's very long. and there are too many non-topic navigation choices to make in the header and the footer. I'm guessing that this landing page was built in WordPress. WordPress is a wonderful product for websites, but it creates by default a standard header and footer for all the pages that you kick out, unless you go in and do some extra work. And so this is a pretty common thing that we see in a lot of WordPress landing pages. Now we've got some kind of interesting tools in the BoyNet product that allowed us to grab that page and bring it into our editor. And so we did a little bit of work on the page, as you can see. We stripped out the top navigation, just left the phone number up there, kept that great headline, very good imagery, great subhead. We removed some of the white space between the subhead and the form, and then the offer. And then we also shortened the form. So form size is a huge topic for landing page optimization. And we recommend that companies really scrub and really make tough decisions about what exactly is needed in order to accomplish the goal of conversion. If you've got other nice-to-have information, there's other ways that we can target and get that. But we recommend on a primary landing page only the most important fields. Finally, we've developed a much bigger and different colored call to action button. You can see here we have changed the wording to get a free quote from request a quote in gray. So this is the before and after. We actually had to shrink down the before because of the size of the page, so it's not exactly a fair comparison. But I think you can see with some small little changes, pulling the white space out, reducing the fields, changing the size and the coloring of the call to action button, and stripping out the navigation from the header and footer, we're able to make this a much more compelling offer what we think would have a much higher conversion rate. Next, a company called EduGuide has created a click-through landing page. This is a well-developed page with a clearly defined single goal to get people to schedule meetings. The URL is simple. It's very clear. We know what this page is all about just by looking at the URL. There's no unnecessary navigation or extra links or extra calls to action, just a subtle phone number and a tiny little home button on the far right for people that want to escape. Finally, the simplicity of the page makes it clear what the call to action is. Schedule a partner meeting, which is here in a different color. While the tone of the coloring, the fonts, and the imagery is pretty subdued, I'm guessing that's what the intent was here. It might be interesting to run a test with some other bolder fonts, perhaps some images of happy people meeting in a professional environment. We think that the page could use some help on the bottom. As you can see, there's a sort of left side navigation and a left side entry for all the content that is all aligned. And then after we get past that content to the call to action, there's a big indent in a gray area. There's a big blue telephone button that actually doesn't do anything. So I try clicking on it, and it's just a symbol telling me to call, I guess. So there's some more space to work with here that I think could make the page stronger. We'd recommend taking the blue button out and using those great pictures of the staff members as a stronger call to action. Bring them over to the left, align them with the rest of the content, blow up the pictures, and then these small and kind of subdued call to action buttons that say pick date and time we'd recommend to make bigger and to use maybe that same orange that was used up in the top call to action, the schedule a partner meeting, to grab the attention and get people to click. So overall, really good. A lot of the principles that are followed here. Some redesign could probably lift the conversion rate quite a bit. And finally, we come to curriculum associates. The folks here at Curriculum Associates have created a click-through page, and they've used some interesting geographic personalization techniques. So you can see we've got a friendly URL, lp/ready-sample-lesson-download, and then an ending. So that URL was probably designed around the keyword combination ready sample lesson. This is a pretty common technique used for search engine optimization to try to get your landing page to come up when people type in those 3 words in sequence. So we'd probably suggest losing -natl.aspx. That's probably a residue of the software used to create the page, which in this case is probably Microsoft.net. And sometimes that can't be avoided based on the software that you're using. If you're using other platforms, you can create pages without those types of endings. What is interesting about what they've done is when you come to the page, you end up with a lightbox pop-up. So this is kind of a new technique that is becoming really popular. And what they've done with it is they've asked me, for a better website experience, please confirm you're in, and it defaults to Massachusetts, which is exactly where I am. So all that I need to do here is to click continue. So the lightbox is becoming popular because it can draw your attention to get you to do something. It has to be very subtle, it has to be very simple, and it better be valuable. Otherwise, I'm going to get frustrated and just leave. Sometimes these are misused and can be intrusive and frustrated the users. I think this is a great use of it. And by me clicking on confirm, I'm coming to this page. And so you can see Massachusetts has been inserted right up in the headline. This is probably for a business reason. I'm assuming that the targets of this campaign identify themselves by the state that they're in, and there's probably curriculum requirements for each one of those states. And so by offering me a quick way to get to the most pertinent content, I'm really happy. Yeah, I think that that's great customer service. I'm getting to jump right into the thing that is most important to me. I don't have to navigate through a ton of other pages and tons of products to get to where I need to go. So we've got a great headline and a great use of personalization. The imagery, I think, is really strong. There's great white space. So my eyes are immediately drawn to that colorful product image. And then immediately to the right, the call to action button is view sample lessons. So this page is not trying to sell me. It's just trying to get me to click through to take a look at some sample lessons. My critique of the page would include the footer content. The footer content here is in dark and black with a ton of different white links. And it's immediately under the image that my eye is drawn to. So it's actually kind of a distraction. It pulls my eyes down, and it tempts me to click on all these things like Common Core, blended learning, Curriculum Associates, our story, all these types of things, which are, great parts of website navigation. They can tempt people to get distracted from the sole intent of the landing page, which is to get people to view sample lessons. So I'd recommend that we strip those out, or at least push them down below the fold. which is a design jargon phrase that's meant to indicate, make it content that you get to through scrolling, not the first thing that you see on a page. The other thing that I do see is some social cues. They're pretty small, so it's not a huge deal. They're over on the right side. Like we talked about before, we recommend that you embed those on your thank you pages rather than on your landing page. Because again, I could get distracted. I could say, oh, this is great. I want to share it on Facebook. I click, and then I'm off thinking about Facebook and all the posts that my kids are making that I need to check up on. So distracting me from the purpose of the page. So that's what we've got for today in terms of our structured presentation. A quick word on BoingNet. As Emily mentioned, we're a lightweight marketing automation platform. Our software helps you generate landing pages, microsites, email marketing, direct mail, and text messaging campaigns. Everything that comes out of BoingNet is mobile ready using responsive design. We'd of course be happy to talk to any of you after our question and answer period. You can contact us directly on our website or using the contact information you see here. So,
Great, thank you so much, Dennis. This was wonderful information. You crammed a lot into the hour that we had together. We did have a couple questions that came in, so we'll get through as many of those as we can. And if any came in, or if anybody has any others that pop to mind, feel free to send them in with the questions panel, and we'll add them to the queue. So I'm just going to start at the top. And actually, we did have several questions of folks asking about applications to do quick and easy landing pages, since you referenced that throughout the presentation, that we no longer have to rely on our IT departments. And BoingNet is an excellent resource for that, so definitely go and check them out. Some other questions that came in were particularly regarding linking. Do you recommend linking to your main website from the thank you page, or do you recommend keeping that really clean and focused as well?
Well, that's a great question. And the thank you page can be much more of a Swiss Army knife. And so if you think of the landing page as, or maybe I'm getting my military metaphors mixed up here, your landing page is a rifle shot, and your thank you page is a shotgun blast. And so you've gotten the person to take the step that you're most concerned with. Your thank you page is really something that we think can be designed for secondary calls to action. So if you're trying to drive more traffic to your homepage for the various reasons, then tell them to go to your homepage and give them a reason why. Tell them what they're going to see. If you want them to take the next step, potentially, in what you've defined as your marketing funnel. So I've agreed to download a case study, and maybe the next step is to watch a video. Well, maybe I can have a link to that next step right there on the thank you page. We see social media being linked typically in the home page or on the thank you page. We see links to related products on the thank you page. And so if I'm interested in landing page software and I'm on a thank you page, maybe I'd be interested in learning how that integrates with email marketing. And so a link to a page that describes that might be really beneficial. So we think that the landing page, thank you page kind of combination can take care of a lot of those extra navigation links that we talk about moving off the primary landing page.
Okay, and along those same lines, do you recommend that there be any other links on your main landing page, or just have people focus on filling out that form or whatever the call to action is?
Well, we recommend that really, if you're going to have any other links, that they ought to be subtle. They ought to force me to really look around and find them, And so if you imagine a scenario where I come to a page where I really don't want to be, I got there by mistake, and I need some sort of way out, then it's some subtle, small links to drive me somewhere else, like a home page or to a related page, may make some sense. I think most people just hit the back button. But to give them a little bit extra control, you can have some subtle extra links. But the primary emphasis is to strip out just about everything.
Okay. In regards to form links, do you think that it's okay to maybe make only 3 or 4 fields required, but then have other optional fields that would help the person on the other end better qualify that person, know more about them, or really just asking the 4 questions?
That's another great question. And the size of the forms and the number of questions that are asked is something that is under a lot of debate in every single landing page exercise that we've ever gone through. And the best answer is to try to keep the form as short as you can. Typically, people are not that aggressive, and they are moderately interested in what it is that you are selling until you really grab them. And so the less, the better. There's some interesting techniques, though, that you can use. So if you had, let's say you had 10 fields of information that you really, really wanted to get people to fill out, maybe what you can do is break up the steps in the marketing funnel and to create 2 different pages. The close cousin of the landing page is what we call the microsite. Microsite is a set of landing pages that work together to accomplish a goal. And so what you can do is create a landing page with, say, 4 or 5 fields and take what we call a tiny bite, get people to take your offer of value in exchange for clicking the button. So they watch their video, all of a sudden the next page pops up that could be a second offer. And so along the lines of what we talked about with the thank you page with secondary calls to action, you can walk people through a funnel by creating more than one landing page that is linked together with a second offer. And so if you've got people that are willing to invest and to give you more information, you should take full advantage of that. The best idea is really to experiment. And so with landing page form length, you may want to create a couple of versions of the same landing page with 2 different form lengths and run a test. Today's software makes that really easy. You'll know typically within a week or so which page is going to convert better, and then you can adjust your form length accordingly.
That segues very nicely into our next question. You just referenced software for testing landing pages, and we had a couple questions of people asking how you conduct landing page tests. Sure.
So there's a lot of different techniques out there to test landing pages. There's a basic concept called A/B testing, and the most common test is what's called a split test, and that's where you take a landing page, you copy it, and give it you take all the elements, copy it over to a second page, and then essentially change one important element, and then watch the results. And so the most basic A/B split test of the landing page is with the headline or the call to action button. And so a lot of times people will test a page with a blue call to action button versus an orange call to action button, or a headline that says buy now versus a headline that says check out our great offer. And so those are the most common combinations that have a real impact on results. Form length is another. But those are the things that typically people will focus on initially with their A/B testing. And again, because you can quickly crank these things out, you can monitor the differences, and then you can redirect your traffic to the winning combination very quickly and easily using today's platforms.
Okay, and we're going to just take one more question. If folks have questions that didn't get answered, we will pass those along to Dennis, and we appreciate everyone who participated today. So our last question is in reference to the last landing page sample you showed, and this person's asking how effective those pop-ups are on mobile devices.
That's a great question as well, and we recommend on mobile devices, if you've got a high percentage of your traffic that you should know from your website analytics, a high percentage of your traffic is mobile, I would avoid those pop-ups. It's just another step that somebody has to deal with their thumb. Those little X out buttons are pretty small, and so they aren't really what we would call thumb-friendly. There's a whole another hour or two we could devote to responsive design and 90-page optimization for mobile devices. But suffice to say that you need to be thinking about people's thumbs rather than their mice when you're thinking mobile.
Great. Well, thank you again, Dennis. You answered some really good questions and provided us all some good information to move forward with. So again, Dennis's contact information is here, and I do really strongly recommend that you go and check out BoingNet and all of its capabilities. It really can lead to some dramatic lifts in your response rates. As I mentioned earlier, we will be sending you an email later today or tomorrow that includes a link to view the recording of today's webinar as well as the PowerPoint slides. Also included in that email will be a link to a short survey. It's 5 questions. It will take you 30 seconds to answer, and we would really appreciate your providing any feedback on today's program, as well as any recommendations for topics that you'd like to see for future webinars. Our next webinar is planned for June 26th, and we'll be focused on getting you ready for all your back-to-school email marketing campaigns. So we'll be reviewing best practices for email on everything from deliverability to mobile optimization, calls to action, and testing. So please tune in for that, and you can marry the information that we'll be providing in our June 26th webinar on email marketing with all you've learned today about landing pages from Dennis. So thank you again, Dennis, and thank all of you for joining us this afternoon, and we look forward to having you on an upcoming webinar.
Thank you, Emily, and thank you, everybody in attendance, and all of our friends at Agile Education Marketing.
Have a great afternoon.